When learning how to improve at League of Legends, it can often feel like you're supposed to somehow make the best possible decision in so many different situations in order to climb. You can't afford to make the wrong choice, but you only have seconds to choose in your games. So how the hell are you supposed to not mess up? Meanwhile, when you watch high elo players play, it feels like they're always in the right place at the right time, have solid CS, and participate in every important fight. But the most frustrating thing is that it feels like they don't even have to think to make better decisions than you do. While it may seem that way, trust us that there is a very simple process good players are going through to make good choices.
But before we get into the guide, here's video of you trying to rank up without skill capped. Don't worry, we can fix that at skillcapped.com. Link in the description below.
When it comes to decision making, it's not that high-level players are always doing the 100% theoretical correct play in every choice they make. Obviously, that's impossible. But they're applying a very simple trick which allows them to arrive at a solid conclusion, which is good enough to win games. Before every choice they make, most high-level players are quickly asking themselves 3 simple questions to make their decision. All you need to do is ask yourself the following. 1. What are the odds of my play being successful? 2. What's the potential reward if it works? 3. And what might happen if things go wrong? To make things clear, it's not that they literally sit there and ask themselves these questions before every play. That would take too long and their gameplay would suffer for it. What you personally need to do is to learn to start recognizing patterns for these questions so that you can subconsciously answer them instantly yourself. For example, when you crash a wave at your opponent's tower, are you able to take a recall timing? Of course you can. You don't even need to think about that, do you? The wave is bouncing back, so in your games, you're able to immediately realize what you can and can't do off that. Like we said, you're not going to be able to pause and ask yourself these previous 3 questions before every single play that you make. But the better you become at recognizing patterns within the game, then the faster you can make snap decisions which are going to be good more often than not. For some examples of this in action, we've once again sent Hector to Smurf on ADC, this time in around Platinum Elo. Let's get a bit of context before the decision we'll be covering from this game. Hector has been passively laning in bot, since his Zilean hasn't really been proactive in making anything happen so far. As he's just chilling farming, he notices that his own Evelynn has been invaded by the enemy Vi. He makes sure to keep a watchful eye on the fight in case he needs to collapse, though it turns out that Evelynn wins the 1v1, so it kinda leaves us wondering why Vi was invading in the first place. Nevertheless, this is important information for Hector. In League, it's often not discussed, but it's important to both get intel for yourself, but good players also keep in mind what their opponents know as well. It's not a crazy bit of information, but Hector is now aware that the enemy Vi knows for certain that Evelynn's bot side camps are down. Normally, this isn't very relevant, but in this specific case, it was a minute or so later. As he's building up a big crash on the bot lane, we'll let him explain what's going on.
Okay, so I wasn't able to cover this in the live game, so I'll just do it here. We clearly see Vi on a ward, and it's obvious that she's about to queue into the dragon pit. Because I know that she knows that Evelynn's camps are down, this only gives her 2 possibilities. She's either ganking me, or she's trying to cheese dragon like every Vi main likes to do for some reason. If she's ganking, then that's good because it is literally 0 risk to me if she is. Because Vi is so useless pre-level 6, at worst I have to use my flash to avoid her Q, and then I just get out unscathed. Whereas my reward is crashing the wave and wasting her time for literally nothing, which is a massive win for the team.
Let's intervene on his explanation real quick, as he just assumed that all of you share the same opinion as him about something, which we should clear up. He just said that he considers using Flash as literally nothing, which may be confusing for some of you. That's mostly because he's looking at it through the lens of a high elo jungler. While Flash is a valuable spell, a gank should at the very least force someone out of lane, or ideally result in a kill. Getting a Flash and nothing else is by most good jungler standards a horrible waste of time. To put it through this guide, same principles. From a jungler's perspective, a gank where at best you get a Flash is not worth the risk of wasting time not killing your camps, and giving away your location as a jungler. It's obviously not literally nothing to use your Flash, but to good players the trade-off is so worth it that wasting Flash doesn't feel like a downside at all in a lot of cases. Anyway.
Okay, so this was a bit awkward, mostly because my Zilean has been AFK the whole lane phase. The wave isn't guaranteed to crash the way I leave it here, but it's so close to the enemy tower that there's no way they can freeze it, so it's fine. Now I have to make a decision. Do I go check dragon or do I not? I never advise screwing yourself over for an early dragon. It's just not that important of an objective early on. But in this case, the only risk to me going to check here is not taking a good recall timing. While that sucks, I'm still full health and mana, and my opponents haven't based either, so it's fine. Meanwhile, the reward could be stopping Vi, killing her, or even getting the dragon for my own team. It's definitely worth the risk of not taking a good base timing. Anyway, as I head there, let's not acknowledge my mechanics in the fight and just leave it at that.
With some melee range secret tech that only the best ADCs know of, things do end up going favorably. He kills Vi and manages to even bait the enemy Lucian into getting himself killed as well. And his team also claims the dragon for themselves at the end of it all, which is a massive swing in the game. Hopefully it's clear how simple those decisions were though. It's not that Hector made some insane calculations to make this happen, he just quickly weighed the risks and rewards of a bunch of situations he had already seen before in his previous games. This is one of the main takeaways for this guide. Good instant decision making is mostly just pattern recognition and simple risk versus reward analysis. Get good at that and you'll be climbing in no time. Anyway, moving on from that game, let's go to our second example. In this game, Hector is playing Tristana versus a Diamond Elo Twitch. For this one, we're not going to be looking at a decision Hector himself made, but rather a weird play his opponent made instead. As he's pushing bottom, Hector's Twisted Fate presses his ultimate, and we see Twitch in between the two mid lane towers, heading for a cheesy gank in mid. Fully aware of what's going on, Hector just keeps pushing the tower to try and punish the enemy Twitch for his roam. While Twitch is successfully scoring 2 kills in mid, Hector is taking some turret plates down in bottom, and can even set up an eventual dive onto the enemy Senna who was left all alone. Don't overthink this. Based on the bit of information that you saw, do you think this was a good or bad roam by the enemy Twitch? Well, let's hear some real-time thoughts on the decision.
What Twitch just did there was so stupid, and the fact that it worked, the fact that he's Diamond 2 and he's making that decision is why people don't climb. He just got 2 kills. He was roaming when I was crashing a wave at his tower, but the TF ult saw him and he still committed to the kill, but he got 2 kills, so he's probably like, wow, I'm so good at the game. But that's why your heart stuck T2. What? Like, that was just so dumb that what I just had to watch.
Yikes. You know a decision is bad when someone isn't flaming his own teammates for dying, but he's instead flaming his opponent for how bad their play was. Let's break down why. To keep things simple, Twitch's roam was effectively a 50-50. If he goes mid, Twisted Fate either dies or he doesn't. But now let's apply some risk versus reward to both these scenarios. The potential reward for Twitch is a kill or at most 2, and that's only if he happens to kill the Lee Sin who tried to counter gank, which is exactly what ended up happening. This is the absolute best reward Twitch could have gotten for this play. Meanwhile, the risk he's undertaking is that Hector denies him a ton of waves and gets to take a bunch of turret plates. That's on top of the fact that he's likely leaving his Senna alone to die in bot because of how easily a Tristana and Maokai can dive a support who is left solo. So, to put it simply, in his very best case scenario, Twitch's decision has him going even in gold with Tristana. Not ideal. Whereas if he doesn't get a kill when he roams to mid, he'll just fall incredibly far behind and will have nothing to show for it. And the final point for why Hector was so harsh with his flame for this Twitch is because of Twisted Fate's ultimate spotting him. So it wasn't even a 50-50 roam to begin with. In reality, it was a 1% chance that Twisted Fate was completely blind and somehow still died to the gank, and a 99% chance that he plays safe and Twitch falls horribly behind. Twitch just got incredibly lucky that his random play happened to work out. And as you should all know as SkillCap subscribers, there's no way luck will ever help you climb Elo. Good consistent choices are the only way to be good in this game. Okay, let's recap the most important takeaways for this guide. 1. You need to make it a priority when you're practicing to try and instantly recognize patterns for specific situations in your games. For example, due to how important early experience is, crashing a wave into the tower during the early game is so important that using your flash to do so is oftentimes the correct play. If you always remember that, then you'll panic less often anytime the enemy jungler comes to your lane. And secondly, the results of your decisions should never be how you analyze whether you made a good play or not. It's not what ends up happening that matters, but the risk versus reward analysis prior to the play that matters most. If you think that the result is all that matters, then you'll find yourself making plays like this Twitch did, which is just going to end up with you getting flamed in one of our guides. Alright guys, before we wrap this up, let's tell you a little more about SkillCapped. So, we offer a 5-division rank up guarantee, and think that's a pretty crazy thing to offer. It's like a gym membership guaranteeing you'll get ripped. Your local gym would go bust if they offered that, right? Not us. We've offered this for years because our service really does work. It works so well, in fact, that we're able to produce by far the largest catalog of premium league guides on the internet. We add over 20 videos a week with over 1,600 guides curated into over 100 courses no one can compare. We've also sent challenger players into ELO Hell 714 times and counting, where they commentate how to carry live. They also respond to all questions asked. Sign up today for as little as $6.99 a month if you are serious about improving. Anyway, that's a wrap on this one. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll catch you next time. See ya!